Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Is everybody doing well? Can you hear me and can you see my screen? How are you guys doing tonight? Can you see my screen and hear me? If you could do me a favor, type in the chat room that you can hear me. That would be really helpful. Yay, thank you. Thank you. You always wonder if you're talking to yourself. So how is everybody tonight? Did you have a highly productive, fun weekends? Very cool. I'm doing well. I did something when I was logging in here and couldn't actually, and had to re-enter everything. So I was a minute late or so sorry about that. How are we doing? Is everybody getting logged in? Cool. All right, so I did this earlier and I made this decision that, it's like I've got this whole PowerPoint and I could take you through all of this stuff. But what's most important to me is that we really address where you're getting hung up in your businesses. So I really want to spend a lot of time on that. Certainly I'll give you any tips that you want, but I would love for you to, hi Carmen, and I would love for you to give me, to let me know what some of your biggest stumbling blocks are in your business, and then I want to address those for you. And I have a really big special surprise for you tonight that I'll share at the end. So let's dive in and tell me where, what's going on. If I don't know what company you're with, tell me what company, and ask away. How does that sound to everybody? Does that sound okay? Does that sound like a good deal? I need to hear some feedback. These are the hardest things. In fact, we almost attempting on this to actually have you call in, because it's like, okay, we can talk by chat, but I'd much rather have real conversations with people. So tell me what you think as far as what some of your big questions are. I'm getting yes. Okay, good. Yes, yes, good. All right. So if I had to say, let's start with, so basically when you give people's business a facelift, okay, when they come to me and they have, they're looking for coaching or they're looking for a course because they've hit, a speed bump or a place in their business where they know they could get better results, right? And so typically, the first place that they're always looking is when it comes to bookings. If they're not getting parties booked at their parties, or they know they're needing to book some new hostesses, and they're unsure about how to make that happen, or they're frustrated because they're not getting a lot of bookings at their parties. So usually they come looking for information there. The second place when people start to get where they're kind of stuck is that they're not sure how to approach prospects at their parties, right? Because I mean, your parties are filled with prospects, and they're not comfortable with how to approach people, so they're not really growing their team. So that's the second place. Third place people get stuck a lot is they sponsor new team members, but those team members don't get their businesses off to strong, fast starts, and sometimes they just never get started. And it has a lot of times to do with actually how they're sponsoring people, meaning how they approach them and talk to them about the business to begin with. But that being said, they're trying to earn promotions, but they can't earn promotions because they don't have productive teams. So they're all intertwined, all right? So when I help people give their businesses a facelift, which I do with my 12 Weeks to Momentum course, and with private coaching, we start from square one and we go back to look at the person's personal business. We make sure that we have the personal business really doing well, and then we can take off and work on the next skills and building their teams, and then the next skill of making those team members productive, and then eventually promoting people out. So it's like a whole little trickle down. I mean, it's like start at square one and then move to the next step, and then square two and move to the next step. Okay, so so it's actually a very simple process. Okay, you start at the basics and move up. So Lori put in recruiting. So I need to know some more information, Lori. So thank you. So if you could share first what company you're affiliated with, and then I would love when you say recruiting. So I first have to ask, and again, this is what I would be doing if you were in my private or group coaching. I would be asking you, first tell me about bookings. Okay, do you have a regular full calendar of bookings, or maybe that doesn't apply to your business? So first tell me what business you're in, if you can type that in and stay ready to type, and then we'll go from there. Great question. All right, so let's see here. Are you there, Lori? Are you typing? So when you say recruiting, I need to know a little bit more. So as I'm working on Lori's question, think of other areas where your businesses are getting stuck. Okay, because I would really love to know your challenges, and it might be that you've got to think about it a little bit, right? I mean, are you having challenges? Lisa with great big T's, and what's your question, Lisa? And so Lori, are you going to respond on your recruiting question? If not, it's okay. We can move on to somebody else's. There you go, 31. Yes, did one last night and have another this Saturday. So, all right. So thank you, Lori. And all right. I know this is Lori who's in my coaching, isn't it? You're in Michigan, aren't you? I wasn't sure which Lori it was. So good. Yes. And did you get some new bookings? And how did it go? Give me the update. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Very cool. So give me your update. I know you went to Michigan and you've had these parties. Did you book future parties from your parties while you were there? And sorry for the silence between waiting for answers on chat. No question at this time. I'm getting bookings now thanks to your training. Oh, good, Lisa. Thank you. Good. So how many bookings did you get, Lisa? I'm excited to hear that, because you know that you're going to find 2 or 3 hot prospects at every one of those parties, right? So I'm very excited to hear that. Hi, Carmen. How are you? And let's see, 1 booking yesterday. Oh, good. I know. We talked about the fact that you don't want to keep driving to Michigan, but good that you got a booking. That's awesome. All right. So let me give everybody the scenario. And now you're in Wisconsin. Cool. All right. So good, Lisa. 2 bookings. Awesome. All right. So here's Lori's scenario. Okay, I'm sure you don't mind me sharing, correct, Lori? Because it's not anything that's a private matter. She's got connections. She lives in New Jersey. She has connections back in Michigan and Wisconsin. Okay, because they used to live there, and she has family members in that area. So she booked parties back in that area and traveled there this week to do these parties. And we talked about the fact that she doesn't want to have to keep doing that all the time. I mean, if she wants to go visit family and friends, that's great. Do some business so that you can write it off as a tax deduction, part of your expenses, and work that out with your accountant. But at the same time, you don't want to keep doing that really frequently, right? So a really smart strategy is to start building your team there. So I used to go back to Minnesota. I was living in Florida. I would go back to Minnesota to visit my family. And then I would do a sales meeting for my team that was in Minnesota. sometimes I would work in a booking just because it was fun cash, but mostly I did some sort of sales meeting or get together and training with my team in Minnesota. And so, that becomes a really great strategy. And so Lori is looking for ways that she can now start sponsoring her team members. She's newer in her business and has not reached out yet to people who are prospects. So this is the perfect question. So you met all these people. Did you have some good sales at your parties? So, because obviously then you have everybody's contact information on your order sheets, correct? So did you have some pretty decent sales at your parties? And she's going to answer. All right, so while you're answering that question, so here's the thing. When I tell people that they have 2 or 3 hot prospects at every single party, when I first tell them that, they don't believe me, okay? And the reason that they don't believe me is that they're not doing the right things at their party to actually connect with those people. So when I say that they're not doing the right things, okay, just like I teach people that when you are doing your party presentation, okay, all right, Lori, we'll talk on Tuesday, so this is good. When they're doing their presentation, okay, I always talk about the fact that you need to do an effective presentation. An effective presentation is going to have really strong sales because you do a super job of presenting your features and benefits. And then you're going to have future bookings because you plant the seeds about all the different benefits of being a hostess throughout your presentation. And then you ask each guest at the closing table with an open-ended question, how would you feel about booking a party? All right, so the same scenario holds true for sponsoring. So during your presentation, you have to do a super job of planting seeds. I call it putting out bids about all the benefits of being a consultant with your company and being a part of your team. All right, and so it can be anything from, helping people understand how much money they can make doing parties, to talking about your incentive trips, to talking about the values of your company, to talking about the incredible support you get and recognition and, all those different things. So just as much as what I want you putting out 6 to 8 booking bids during your parties, I want you putting out 6 to 8 sponsoring bids during your party too, okay? So then when you get to the closing table, it's a very simple strategy with every single person who sits down, okay? I call it sell more, sell even more, book and sponsor, okay? Because you've primed these people in their head if you do it that way. So you've got them thinking about it, taking them through those steps to accepting an idea by all that information you just shared. And so now you're going to start with their order. And then, of course, you'll suggest some complimentary things. Maybe if you sell bags, you can suggest a wallet. Or if you sell jewelry and they've ordered a necklace, you can suggest the matching earrings. I mean, those kinds of things to sell more. Then sell even more. That's when you remind them of customer specials, customer specials, or like I know we have a couple 31 people, customization, on the bags, and just any little add-on sales. In clothing, it was we had shoulder pads and sashes and that kind of thing. So that was the add-on sales. Okay, so now you've done a super job of building up that order. You collect their payment. And then you're going to say, gosh, I see you've still got more things on your wish list. Or, oh my gosh, how I know you still like this, this, and this. How would you feel about working with me as a hostess? All right, so now you're working on the hostess part. If they have any speed bumps, you take the time to get a really clear understanding by listening and asking questions. If they say, I'm really busy, you say, oh my gosh, I totally understand that. It seems like lots of people are busy these days. Do you have something special you're working on, or do you have an event coming up? What's making you so busy? And then you ask those questions, listen carefully, because then you can become a problem solver. Okay, now you can figure out a solution so that she gets on your calendar. And then you say, and I say this the same way to every single person. This is really important. This will triple the number of prospects you meet with. Okay, I say it this way to every single person. Notice I said every single person. I say, you might think I'm crazy for asking this question, but have you ever considered, and this is important, taking a closer look at the information about our business? Okay, I didn't say, have you ever thought about joining? I said, have you ever thought about taking a closer look at the information about our business? All right, that's a totally different question. Okay, if you ask them, have you thought about joining our company, you're asking them to get married before you're asking them out on a first date. So you want to now ask them to take a look at the information. Okay, so then if they say, oh, I've never really thought about, being in direct sales, and it's like, I totally understand. In fact, I really am just giving you an opportunity to learn more about it. It's not for everybody. It might not be the right match for you. But gosh, I would certainly love to sit down and just give you the information, let you make a good decision. Okay? And so when you do it that way, it's not threatening. It's not people feeling like you're going to twist their arm to sign up. It's just, hey, let's just sit down, go through the details. Either you'll decide to join or you'll decide not to join. It's okay either way. This could change your life, okay? But if it's not the right match for you, my gosh, why would we want you to do it? All right, so when you come from that approach and keep that approach through your entire presentation with a prospect, now it's when you start to become a magnet, okay? It's not Lori's, it's actually Lori's upline in 31. We went through this whole makeover process like what, like we're talking about tonight. She was a private coaching student. When she started in my business, she kept praying for a company lead because she was not getting bookings at her parties. She wanted to get paid at title in 31, and she was scraping out those numbers. We gave her business a makeover. Now her biggest problem doing exactly what I just described to you guys, her biggest problem is she can't fit all of her bookings on her calendar. She now has bookings into January and February. Okay, we're figuring out ways, and I drilled her in a personal call. She wouldn't mind me sharing this. I drilled her last week. I said, okay, you got all these bookings. Are you booking the same people over and over? I said, or what's going on here? Because if you're booking the same people over and over, she needs to get rid of some of those parties, right? Because she needs to always be focusing on parties where she's finding prospects. And she said, no, she said, every single one of these people is a brand new hostess. And I'm like, okay, we got to get you sponsoring even more people. Now, keep in mind, she's averaging sponsoring 1.5 consultants per month. In the last 12 months, she sponsored 18 people personally. That didn't count her team. And so we're going to even speed that up even more. All right. So Lori, in your scenario, every customer that you have met, that you met at the party, okay, even if they didn't purchase, because they might need a business, right? I would pick up the phone, I would give them a call, and I would schedule a time to meet with them at a coffee shop. Okay, so I'd say, I'm here in Michigan. I had so much fun meeting you, and we've got a lot of interest in 31. I've got more bookings coming up from these parties, and I still have people I haven't connected with. So I'm really looking to find some people who want to take on all this business. So I'm just curious, have you considered taking a closer look at 31? I would love to sit down, give you more information. It might not be the right thing for you, and that's totally okay. But gosh, why don't we just sit down and let you review the details and see if it's right for you? Okay? So I would reach out to every single one of the people who've been at the parties with that phone call, even people from your previous parties there, okay? I would schedule as many appointments as possible. The reason I'm not suggesting at this stage in your business, Lori, that you do it as a group, because I know you're attending the group meetings that Dondria and Helene are doing, but I wouldn't suggest you do it at a group yet, because you've got to get really good at meeting with prospects and going through the information one-on-one. Once you've done, and you can get really good at that fast, right? If you meet with 5 or 6 people, you'll be a pro at this, okay? Then you can start to meet with groups, because then you'll know exactly how to work those groups, okay? But I'd start meeting with them one-on-one, get them sponsored, and gosh, then you can start to coach them through their parties, or their launch parties. Now, one of the biggest things when you meet with somebody in person, okay, we talked about the questions, I know, in private coaching, but since we've got some people here who haven't heard it all yet, so keep in mind that the questions are, is the business easy? Is it fun? Will I get a lot of training and support? Can I make money? And is there a really strong reason why I should get started right now? Okay, so when you go through those details, and then you want to ask the person, and here's what everybody forgets to do, or they're nervous to do it. Okay, and you're in the Dreamers group, so look at the conversation that we've had in the past 24 hours with Maria and Nellie, okay, because it's a really good discussion. That when you get really, what happens a lot of time is that people will just kind of think, okay, what's happening? Instead of just saying, so where are you at on all this? Should we just go ahead and get you started and schedule your launch party and order your kit? Or where are you at on it? Or asking, gosh, if I had to ask on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, no, it's not for me, and 10 being, I'm over the top with excitement and I want to jump on board and start now. Where are you at? What's your number? Or you can ask, should we just schedule, this party that you've got booked, if they've booked a party, you can say, gosh, should we get you started and turn that party into your business launch party? So you want to ask them to get started. That's a big thing people just don't do. And it's like, what the heck? I mean, if you look at the conversation in the Dreamers, a brand new consultant who's working to, build her team, she said, oh, there was a person, at the party who she thinks is a prospect. She booked a party. So she said, oh, at her party, I'll start to talk to her about the business. And both Helene and I said, no, call her today. Why wait? There's not a good reason to wait. All right. Phew. So that's a lot of information. Did that help? Tell me, was this helpful? Give me some feedback. All right. What other questions do you have? This is where I should play the Jeopardy song. These chat things drive me crazy because you gotta wait so long. Even when I do like support chat, it's like, are you there? It's like, did you guys go on a coffee break or something? So tell me if that was helpful. Helpful. Okay, good. She said helpful. All right, so what other questions do you have? This is good. How about you, Carmen? Tell me, how are things going in your business? Where are you at? Are you in, am I remembering, are you in 31, Carmen? And the reason I'm guessing 31 is that you've got 31 in your email address. so tell me if I guessed right. Helping 31 consultants grow their businesses fast is one of my super specialties. I have so many awesome 31 customers, so I always am so excited to work with 31 people, and of course other businesses, but I just have this special bond with some of my 31 people. Very helpful. I struggle with them following through with actually signing up. They're excited in the beginning. If they do not sign up right away, they lose interest. This is such a good point. Okay, so let me, I'm not sure, can you guys all read what Carmen wrote? I'll read it anyway. So she said, it was very helpful. I struggle with prospects following through with actually signing up. They are excited in the beginning, but if they do not sign up right away, they lose interest. So this is such a critical thing to understand, okay? And that is because if you think about what actually happens with people, okay, so they come to the party. A lot of times they start to think about it and think, oh my gosh, maybe this is something I could do. Sometimes they go home and they think about it all night. You know, you send them home with a flyer and they look through it till it's almost worn out, and you know, start crunching numbers and looking at things. I mean, people really do think about these things a lot. That's why I used to tell my consultants in my former home party business that if they put the bids out there and then they didn't actually offer to share the business with people, that they were really doing a disservice to humanity. Okay, that was a little much. They knew I was kind of kidding. But, you know, you do get these people very excited when you put out good bids. And so when you sit down with them, if you think about what happens in their life, okay, and think about, you know, maybe you don't have these circumstances, but I certainly lived through these circumstances, that if I went home and told my dad, or if I told my boyfriend or some friends, oh, excuse me, that I was thinking of starting a direct sales business, they would have told me all the reasons I was making a bad choice. They would have poo-pooed it. They would have said, you know, remember when you were 12 and you tried to, you know, do X, Y, Z, and it flopped. You know, they think that they're doing you a favor. They think they're protecting you. But our closest people in our lives tend to be the ones who poo-poo everything. Okay. So that's why when you meet with them and you show them the information, you want to take it to a close, right? So you want to say, so, you know, how are you feeling about all this? You know, considering our kits are just $99 and plus shipping, you know, what have you got to lose? Right. So, I mean, if they're teetering, if they are saying, oh, I have to discuss it with my husband, or I have to do some of these different things, you know, obviously you have to respect the fact that they're asking for that extra time. But if that's the case, then I say to them, you know, so I certainly understand that you're, you know, kind of on the fence here, and that's fine. Tell me, what is it that you need to, you know, if I've asked them if from a scale of 1 to 10, and they tell me they're a 6. It's like, oh, okay. And I said, you know, I will say, thank you so much for sharing that. Then I'll say, what information do you need to get to a 10? You know, what's missing in this picture? What's making you not be a 10? You know, so I really want to get more details about where they're at on it. But I do then want to say, so, you know, I understand if you have to go home and talk with your husband, you know, that I certainly understand. In fact, I'd be happy to connect with you and your husband if that will be helpful, right? So I've met with lots of women with their husbands and answered all the husband's questions. But that being said, then I'm going to say to this person, so, you know, will you be talking with him tonight, or, you know, tell me what your schedule is, so we can schedule a follow-up appointment, because, you know, if you're ready to start, there's not a good reason to wait. We've got all these great things happening, especially right now in 31. You know, so I'm going to find out what's causing her to hesitate. I'm going to find out then how I can help get her past that. And it's all with discussion and careful listening, right? This is not text messaging. And then I'm going to say, you know, gosh, time frame wise then, you know, how about if we connect tomorrow by phone, you know, and or if we can meet in person, that's great. And then I'm going to say to this person, if it's okay with you, because, you know, because what I'm sensing from you is that it's just a couple, you know, details you need to cover with your husband, or, you know, whatever it is. You know, meaning if they've told me I've got to make sure my mother could watch my kids when I'd be doing parties, or I need to make sure of this or whatever. It's like, oh, that sounds awesome. You know, I'm sure you'll get that taken care of. But I'm then going to say, you know what I'd also like to suggest? And this is for the person who either hasn't booked a party, or they booked a party and they booked it far out. Okay. I'm going to say, you know, often what's really helpful for somebody who's in your situation where you're close to wanting to start, but you still got a few things to get, you know, resolved. It's really helpful if we schedule a party, and that way you can get just, you know, more information and feedback from your family and friends. And that way you can also watch a party from the perspective of, can I do what she does? Okay. And so why don't we look at my calendar here in the next, you know, 7 to 8 days and pick out a date for your party? It's very easy to have a party quickly. I will coach you through the whole thing. Okay. And if when we connect tomorrow, you decide that you're ready to get started, we'll just turn this into your launch party and we'll get your business started quickly. How does that sound to you, prospect? Okay, so it's a way, I mean, I know I'm doing kind of a one-sided conversation here, but basically my strategy is, if she's not ready to start, number one, I'm still going to follow up with her quickly. Number two, I'm going to put that booking on the calendar. Number three, if she has booked, but she is booked out for 6 weeks, I'm going to say, I know we put a date on the calendar, you know, for mid-November. By considering that you're at this business, how would you feel if we moved your booking up to, you know, next week? And that way you can either, you know, use it to decide and get feedback from your family and friends, or if in the next, you know, day or two you decide to get started, we'll turn it into your launch party. How does that sound to you? So I'm always going to try to get them booked quickly. So that gives it, it also gives it that additional scenario of, I'm going to be in her house, if her husband's there. If her husband's not excited about it, I can certainly answer his questions. It gives me the chance to say, you know what, you know, Rosemary has been carefully considering starting with our business, and I think she'd be a spectacular consultant. What do you all think, right? So I can do that with her guests who are at the party. You know, I can say to her ahead of time, you know, watch what I'm doing. If you see me doing anything that you think would be difficult to do, I want you to let me know, because I think you'll find you could do every single thing I'm doing very simply. You know, so I want her seeing herself in the consultant role. I might even pull her in to help me do some things to make her feel like a consultant, like, you know, why don't you come up and, you know, demonstrate how to use this special bag, or, you know, so I'm going to put her into that role as much as possible. Make sense? Phew, like I said, I'm chatting like crazy. All right, what other questions? So one of the things I want to talk about, because often I see people who, one of the places that they get stuck. Carmen, what level are you at in 31? I know where Lori's at. Lori is a qualified consultant working towards building her team, because we've got this special thing, and it's time for her to build her team. That's where she's at in life. I know Lisa owns her company, Great Big Teas, and they are expanding their consultant base. And so Carmen, how long have you been in 31? And are you a director? Have you a senior consultant? Tell us where are you at and how big is your group? And in the meantime, while she's typing, let me share a little bit about what I call, well, actually, it depends on where you're at in your business, Carmen. Qualified consultant trying to build another team. Just so that I can get, okay, these are good questions. All right, so first, Carmen, you said qualified consultant. You've been with 31 for 3 years. You're a qualified consultant. So did you have a team and they dropped off? Is that what happened? And it's common, so don't worry about it. But had 5 consultants and now down to 1. Okay, so 31 has gone through what I think is a really healthy transition over the last couple years. And so sometimes it's you know, so 31 used to kind of be the scenario of, hey, you know, and I even saw leaders who taught this where they would say, hey, our kits are only 99 bucks and you'll enjoy this discount. So, you know, just get on, you know, join the company and get, you know, get all those extra discounts and benefits. Okay. And that's not a good way to sponsor people. All right. So I want everybody on the webinar to know that is not a good, effective way to sponsor people. The reason being, now, yes, will you hear stories of somebody who's, you know, an SED, which for Lisa, that's almost at their top level. Will you hear somebody who's an SED who will, you know, get up on stage and share her story that she just signed up to get the discount and here she is an SED? Yeah, but those stories are few and far between. So what you're doing when you sponsor people that way is you're actually taking somebody who would be possibly an awesome hostess and bring you lots of other great prospects, and you're turning them into somebody who just gets a discount, and now you probably make 10 bucks from their production per year if you're a senior consultant or above. Okay, it is not a good scenario. I would rather have that person be an awesome hostess, get some stuff free or at a big discount, than trying to dig up $200 in orders every 3 months. All right. So instead, I mean, you can see the company has shifted now. And just for Lisa's benefit, because Lori and Carmen know this, 31 has an incentive this month where new consultants can earn additional commissions and do all these things. If they actually did everything offered in the program, I think they can earn over like $4,000 in additional commissions and bonuses and stuff over the next 4 months or something like that, right? I haven't seen the flyer myself. I've just heard people talk about it. But anyway, so it very much shifted to saying, instead of just bringing in some masses, let's bring people in and give them a big incentive to get their businesses moving. Okay, and that's great. Okay, so it's really signaling everybody, you know, we want productive people. They don't have to be, you know, we really want them to come in and get to work. So that being said, okay, so I would, how is the one that you've still got doing, Carmen? How is she doing in her business? So let me know that. So basically, I would, number one, in your scenario, I would evaluate whether or not you have, so in other words, I would look at, number one, am I meeting new people? Okay, because that's really kind of the first step. If you're still doing your business with those same old hostesses, we've got to get you networking into some new people. Now, that being said, you can do that really fast. And the way you can do that fast is with what I call my 3 to 8 system. And actually, my business coach named it that. But I was explaining how every time I moved when I was building my business, that I tracked, I'm anal about tracking numbers. And I had tracked that all I had to do was get out and network and meet 3 good hostesses. So, you know, whether it was attending some networking meetings or some women's groups or doing a vendor event, whatever it took, but I just got out there and connected and met people and worked it until I got 3 good bookings on my calendar, okay? And this didn't take me very long, you know, but yes, did I talk to some people who didn't want to book and that sort of thing? Absolutely. But once I got 3 good bookings, I knew from my history, and it was repeatable, that I would book usually 8 new bookings from those bookings by using my booking techniques. And I know you just registered for the bookings course, so very, very good. So that is how I would then, you know, so I took 3 bookings and turned them into 8. And then I took those 8 bookings and I tracked it. From those 8, I usually had 13 new hostesses. And the reason it wasn't more than 13, you know, because if you think of, well, 2 went up, or 3 went up to 8, how come it wasn't more than 13 from those 8? That's because I was sponsoring people from those parties and they were taking on their connections. Okay, so I could rapidly expand my business from 3 new hostesses. And the big but with it is, provided I did a great job getting bookings from those bookings. Okay, if I got those 3 hostesses and didn't get any bookings, right, then they were just dead ends anyway. And so for your personal business, I would really take a step back and look and say, okay, am I still booking the same old people? Or, what am I going to do to get at least 3 new hostesses into my business as quickly as possible? The second thing I would do is say, okay, I'm going to give my presentation a tune-up, because I am going to make sure that at every party I do, I book at least 2 or 3 new hostesses. Okay? Then, as you do that, now you're going to meet so many new prospects. And if you do what I just mentioned of every single guest at that closing table, I don't care if the woman is 70 years old, 80 years old, in a wheelchair, blind, I don't care, okay? They can all be highly successful consultants. I'm going to ask every single one, because how dare I decide for somebody else whether or not this could be an awesome opportunity that could impact and transform their life, right? I think it's really selfish if I make that choice for people by not offering or asking. And again, I'm only saying, why don't you check this out and get some more information, see if it's a good match for you, okay? Well, some will start, some won't start. Okay, whatever. But who am I to say I'm going to select who I'm going to offer this to? I mean, that's just obnoxious. Okay, so and I say these things in that manner to shock you. Okay, I want you to think about it. All right, so that is what I would do with your personal business. As you bring new people on, then you want to really do a spectacular job of getting them off to a great start. And then there's a time in their business that I call their speed bump. And Lori, you'll appreciate this. Lori's in a special group I'm doing with 2 different 31 leaders. We're calling it the Dreamers Group. And we've got all kinds of cool things going on. But there's 2 new consultants in this group who have hit their speed bumps. And Lori, you'll see, they both of them over the weekend had parties with an obnoxious guest. and that's a speed bump. And that's when they need us as leaders the most, because that's when if they don't have somebody in their life saying, hey, this person was just being a jerk, it's their problem, not your problem, and my gosh, you handled it really well, because she bit her tongue, and the one gal bit her tongue and didn't do, and just ignored it, the woman apparently was just totally a jerk. And that's where if you don't get somebody past those bad experiences, they can tend to shut down and just think, oh my gosh, I don't want to put myself through this anymore. Where we're all telling her, look, these people are few and far between who behave this way, and you handled it great. In fact, she even commented that her supervisor from work who was in attendance gave her a big hug at the end of her presentation and told her how impressed she was with her professionalism. So there you go, right? All right, so that was a long story to say that's how you need to rebuild your team, okay? You could easily actually rebuild your team and be in qualification in 31 in the month of November. I mean, I know that might sound crazy, but I've helped 31 people through that. In fact, I helped a gal, she came into my private coaching in January. She wanted to earn the leadership incentive trip. She had like 2 team members who were doing nothing. She didn't hardly have any bookings on her calendar. We got her business made over quickly. She promoted, she DIQ'd in the month of March, kept right on going, and they earned the trip, and she just got back from, I always mix up where they were, was it Punta Cana or someplace like that? And had a great time. So you could do that just as quickly if that's your goal. I absolutely know it. Okay? All right, so Lisa had a great question. She said, my prospect needed to discuss with her husband the GBT opportunity. I didn't try to book a party with her because she's far away. Should I have offered to do a virtual party? Do you know, Lisa, so the thing, I know you're all excited about the virtual parties, and that's great. Virtual parties are a ton of work, okay? If you haven't really mastered everything about doing live parties, okay, then virtual parties are gonna flop. Okay, I mean, that's my best way to describe it. My company has been, I have been researching and putting together information about virtual parties for the last 8 months. So most people do them on the wrong platform, so they don't really engage the guests. They don't. In your case, you'd have to get, lots of samples to the hostess so that the guests can all taste your teas. So, sometimes when a guest is saying she has to discuss it with her husband, sometimes that's not actually the real reason. And I don't mean to say that these women aren't considerate of their husbands, okay? But sometimes there's something else that's actually going on. So the biggest thing that I would be doing is saying, oh my gosh, I totally understand that. In fact, if you'd like me to, I would be happy to book a party. I'm sorry, to book an appointment to talk with you and your husband by phone so that we can get any of his questions answered. How does that sound to you? And if she said, oh, no, I'm good. I'll talk to my husband about it. It's like, that's fantastic. So then I would still want to say, is there anything else that's holding you back? Okay, because usually there is. That's not really the husbands. Husbands get blamed for lots of things that they aren't really responsible for. And so I would be wanting to ask that question and dig deeper. And then I would be wanting to say, okay, so I know you've got to talk with your husband. We do have these things going on with Great Big Teas right now. We've got our founding consultant program, and we've got our I don't know, were you doing your special travel mug or something for people sponsoring? I don't know what you're doing. But so I would, especially your founding consultant program. So I'd want to say, so knowing we've got those things in place, tell me how much time do you need to connect and talk to your husband? Because I'd love to set up an appointment for us to connect back together by phone to see if you have additional questions that have come up or to see where you're at on this. Okay, so, so can you schedule a virtual party? You can, but again, it's so much harder and more work. They can be super successful when you learn the things that we're teaching now in the virtual party course. But if you're not highly experienced first with your live parties, they're just not going to be that easy to transition to. Okay, does that help? Let's see here. She said her interest was a 4 on a 5 scale. So what was it besides talking to her husband? I'm so glad you asked her that. What was it going to take to get her to a 5? So did she, was it just the husband? Let's see. Carmen said incentives, but then she doesn't follow through. It's more excuses than trying. I'm not sure I'm understanding, Carmen. So this is your person who's your team member that you still have? Is that what you're talking about? You've got this team member who doesn't follow through? Oh, okay. So Lisa said, I asked if she knew what was responsible for her hesitance. And she said, I just need to speak with my husband first. And we set up an appointment afterwards. She didn't keep the appointment. Okay, so I'm guessing she wasn't giving you full information, or something came up in her life and she forgot. Okay, because that's another thing about our businesses that people sometimes forget. Okay, and that is that that we think about them a lot, right? But at the same time, the people that are on our teams, or the people who are prospects in our business or prospects for being hostesses, they don't think about them a lot. They think about stuff going on in their life a lot. So Lisa, did you text her beforehand and do some reminders about the appointment? I mean, I would be texting that morning saying, just a reminder that we're going to connect at such and such a time. I'll call you at that point. Yeah, I mean, so continue to call, absolutely. But the same thing is, so this is another important point, you guys, is that when you hold on to your prospects tightly, okay, when you've got just a handful of them and you hold on and keep hoping that handful of prospects is going to get started, it's like snuffing out a fire, okay? In order to really make your business flow, certainly you want to do thorough and effective and consistent follow-up, but you also have to come from the mindset that there's a gazillion other prospects everywhere you go and everywhere you look. And so when you start to understand that and really embrace that, it kind of shifts the whole energy of the process, and it actually makes you become more magnetic to prospects, okay? Because when you're desperately trying to sponsor somebody, they feel it, and it becomes very repelling. And so when you're just really relaxed about it, and when they can really sense that you're just working to get to know them, that you're just wanting to present information, and that you will, that you just have their best interests and that at heart, it's amazing how it shifts and changes. I mean, that's what's happening with Dondria. That's why she's just sponsoring people like crazy, because she just is so relaxed about it, because she knows there's a zillion of them out there, that she's just attracting her prospects like crazy. Okay. So Carmen was describing her one team leader who is left. Correct me if I'm misunderstanding. So, so you said incentives, but then she doesn't follow through. So I want to know more. This is interesting conversations. So tell me more about the incentives, and I want to address that. And then I have some really kind of cool news to share with everybody who's here tonight. So tell me more about what you mean by incentives, Carmen, because this is another big. It can be a big no-no in the business. So, and what I mean by no-no is not that you're doing something wrong. It's just that it doesn't actually build your business effectively. So tell me, are you dangling incentives for her to take different action in her business, or what do you mean by incentives? And I'll sip on my water because I'm going to lose my voice. And just a side note, Lisa, I would still send a text message a couple hours before we're going to connect, just reminding the person of our call. These days, you pretty much have to do that. I mean, when you do webinars like this one, I mean, they're set up for like 3 reminders the day of, and more reminders the next day. So you pretty much, oh, excuse me, you pretty much really need to do those things. So Carmen, just give me some clarification on the incentives. I should be drinking tea? No, because I need to go to sleep after this. I haven't had much sleep for a week. But yes, you're saying I should drink tea so that I don't lose my voice instead of water, I'm guessing. And actually, well, I have the yummy tea that you gave me. If you guys haven't had a chance to try, if Lori and Carmen, if you're tea drinkers, okay? If you're not, you should be. And you should really go to the Great Big Tea's website and check out their products. I met with Lisa and her business partner a couple months ago, and they gave me a gift of a couple of yummy teas, and I have been totally spoiled by these delicious teas that they gave me. So thank you again. Okay, so Carmen said the company puts out incentives for consultants to earn free products, trips, etc. She will get excited about these. Okay, all right. So I first wanted to make sure that you weren't putting out the incentives, Carmen. So thank you for the clarification. I have watched leaders get into what I would call trying to lead by incentive mode, meaning for a while there, a couple of my coaching students, every time they wanted to try to make something happen, they would throw out some incentive at the last minute. So it wasn't very well promoted and it wasn't very well planned. And usually it was the same handful of people who were already doing the business anyway, and they earned them. All right, so with this person, if you feel like she does have a strong why, as Cindy Monroe is so good at explaining. If she has a really strong why for why she wants to be doing her business, okay? What I would strongly recommend is just asking if the two of you, if she lives close by, asking if the two of you can get together and just talk about her business. And just say, you know, when you came onto my team, you know, this is what you told me your reason for being in the business was. Oh, excuse me, has that reason changed? So tell me what's happening with your business. Why are you here? What is it that you would love to accomplish with your business? And if she says, well, I'd like to do this, you know, I would love it if I could be, you know, stay home with my kids, and that would mean I'd have to, you know, be making at least $500 per month, and or whatever it is, okay? Then I would say, you know what, we can get your business to that point. But here's the thing. I can only be a great coach and mentor if I know what's going on with your business. So first thing is that we need to be communicating regularly. The second thing is, I think we should really consider just giving your business a restart. And what I mean by a restart is that we literally do another launch party. I just don't call it a launch party. So I sit down with this person and we make out a list of prospective hostesses, right? And we're gonna throw another party. I want her inviting people who haven't seen 31 yet, or who haven't worked with her in 31 yet. Because if she just does this and invites that same old group of people, right, that isn't gonna move her business one iota. So we want to get her to bring in some new hostesses, you know, new prospective hostesses. I'm going to help her do a presentation, because to me it sounds as though really what's missing is really getting back to the basics of the business. You know, you can dangle incentives in front of people all day long, but if they don't have the skills to make it happen, or if they try a few things and they just feel like they run into brick walls all the time, we have to get them past that and really help them with their skills in order to get them on track. So that's really what's probably going on with her. She just doesn't know how to get the bookings on her calendar. So that's where, you know, I would actually be helping her do another party if I was in your shoes. And if she didn't get bookings from that one, I would schedule another one. In other words, I want to help her get some bookings on her calendar, and then learn how to book parties from those parties to really get her business moving. That is if she wants it bad enough. If she doesn't want it bad enough, then you move on and you just keep finding new people. Okay, but literally you could DIQ here in the next couple months, Carmen. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so this has been really fun discussions. Thank you. Are you feeling that you got some good value from these discussions this evening? I want to make sure that everybody's okay. Is everybody doing okay? All right. Okay, wonderful, Carmen. You're going to get her on track. Okay, so good for you. All right, so I want to tell you about a cool surprise. My business is really transitioning. I'm going to be really starting a little bit here in the fourth quarter, but mostly into 2016. I'm going to be doing much more work and consulting with people on the corporate side of the business, meaning companies that want to start a home party division, or start into the home party world from scratch, although my target is mostly those who already have established products and they just want to add another home party division, because they can do that so quickly. So anyway, I'm going to be starting to do some special coaching and consulting with those types of businesses. So it's kind of shifting me away from as much work with consultants one-on-one, which I'll still always be working with some consultants, but you know, it's an exciting shift for me. It takes my business to a whole new level. And so with that, you know, I'm I had been working for the last, oh gosh, quite a long time on updating and redoing my sponsoring, my hostess coaching, my bookings, and a new course called How to Sell More at Every Single Party. And so normally those courses, they're loaded with information. And I know some of you are in those courses, but so what I've put together is two special things. So Lori, you already have all this stuff. So you're already covered, Lori. Anyway, so I put together two things. First is the Essential Skills Package. And this is a special deal just for people who are on the webinar, okay? And basically you get my new, my new bookings course. You get my new sponsoring course, which is being uploaded and into the online world, the online place where you access all my courses now in the next week. You get my hostess coaching course, which will be the following week. And then my new How to Sell More at Every Single Party is getting loaded up the week after that. And so I put together, these courses are now, if you went to my website and found them, they would be $197 per course, okay? But tonight, I want to give everybody who's on this webinar the opportunity to get a package deal on those courses. So let me put in here the link. Let's see, this should bring it up. It did, ding, 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 ding. So you can get the entire package for $197. And that is, so you're getting actually over almost $800 worth of courses for just $197. So literally it's investing profits from just one party. So there's that package deal. And once you invest in that package deal, there's another surprise about, and it's information about a special program. Again, Lori, you're already in it. But Lori, it's what's called, technically it's called 12 Weeks to Momentum. I have now renamed it to call it Transforming Your Business. And so you'll get the information. That is normally a $2,000 course, but once you've invested in this package, you can actually upgrade for just $300. The reason that you have to do these four first is that if you don't have the focus on learning these essential skills, then the other course is just going to be a waste of your time, okay? Any questions or comments? So this package deal is literally, you'll see me promoting it on a few other things here for just 24 hours. And basically, we're just letting people have that as I transition to the corporate world. You know, I want to get, we're going to be licensing some of my training products to some of these corporations. So it's kind of fun transition for my business. But that being said, so if you want to get a great deal on these courses, this is the time to do it, okay? All right, so any other last minute questions? I just truly appreciate you guys being here tonight. I don't know what time zone you're in, Carmen, but I know Lori is traveling. She's in Central tonight, but normally she's in Eastern, and I know Lisa's in Eastern. So I truly appreciate all of you being here tonight. This has really been fun. I hope that I guess we should do some more of these open, should I call them open mic? So with that being said, any other last minute questions? Otherwise, thank you for being here. All right, guys. So that's the info. You have a terrific evening. Thanks again, and I will talk with all of you soon, okay? All right, take care. Bye. Oh, you're Eastern too, Carmen. Oh my goodness, we are night owls. Good for us. All right, I got to go walk my dog. Thanks, you guys. See you soon.